What is going on, everybody? Million Dollar Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. I have my co-host with me, Kim on. Kim, how's it going?
Hey, really good, thank you.
Good. I'm happy you're here. I hear you're a little bit sick right now from what you tell me, but I'm glad you're powering through it because I know we have a big audience and people are really stoked to see this.
Yeah, just a little bit sick, so if I sound a bit weird, that's why.
Nothing that would stop you from not doing the $1 million case study, right?
No, of course.
Fabulous. So yeah, I'm really excited for today's session, guys. If you haven't seen any before, if this is the first time you're seeing us, Kim and I, Kim's actually doing it. Kim is launching a product in the Amazon EU stores. We've chosen UK to do it. I'm going to be mentoring her along the way. And throughout the $1 million case study, this is a project, a philanthropic mission where we are launching, growing, we're scaling a physical products company to $1 million in revenue. We're donating all the profits to Pencils of Promise. We're going to build 5 schools in the process. Well, that's our goal. And what's even cooler for you guys, though, is we're sharing every step along the way with you about how to do this. Kim, give everyone a quick rundown of what you've been working on this week and, yeah, how it's going.
Yep. So I've spent quite a lot of time actually doing further product research, and I've created a list of, I think it's like 42 products now.
Nice.
And I have been analyzing that myself, and I've narrowed it down to 5 that I think are the top ones. Cool. And that's what I'm hoping you're going to be able to help me with today, Greg, to delve even deeper into my research on those 5 items.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you missed last week's session, I do recommend you go back at some point and watch it because that's when we did like product research 101. Kim and I worked together to find some good products. We showed you guys how you can use the Jungle Scout tools or not use them to help you to find these profitable products to sell on Amazon. So those are the tools that she used to create this list of 40 plus products. We gave out that spreadsheet last week for kind of the homework, which is the same stuff that Kim's been doing and working on. And yeah, so today we're going to start going over those. That being said, any other housekeeping things we need to talk about before we get started?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right, sweet. So hopefully you guys should be able to see my slides now. Before we get started looking at the products that Kim came up with, I wanted to show you, let you guys know about a giveaway that we're doing. So we've been doing this throughout the $1 million case study. You can find it at jugglescout.com/giveaway. There you'll find all of the details to enter, but it's super easy to enter and it's free. And every week for all of 2017, we're giving away Jungle Scout subscriptions as well as t-shirts. So the people who entered last week, these are the winners, Bree and Lisa. Bree said, like Jungle Scout give me the freedom of my life. There's no better feeling than putting time and dedication into you. #$1 million case study. That was inspirational, and I totally agree with that. Lisa wrote us a really nice bit here too. I just turned 50. I've been trying to make money online outside my 9-to-5 job for 20 years. The most difficult part is completely trusting that the investment will actually make me a success this time and I can pay for my kids' college. Lisa, I wish you the best of luck, and I'm confident that you can do well by following along with the steps that we're outlining you here. And one of our other winners here, thank you very much. I'm not going to read this particular one to you guys, but you can read it. It's inspiring as well. And Amelia from our team are going to reach out to all of our winners to get you guys hooked up with your free stuff. We'd love for you we really encourage you guys to follow along with the $1 million case study and to kind of mimic the steps that we're doing. We're showing how to build this business to $1 million in revenue totally transparently. We're sharing every detail along the way with you guys. So there would be no better time than now to follow along with us and to do the same steps as we're doing them. And along with that, we'd encourage you guys to share your progress with us using the hashtag MDCS for $1 million case study challenge. And I'm a big believer in this because I think it helps everyone to hold them accountable if you share this publicly, kind of like we're doing. It's like Kim was feeling sick last week. Some days, I might not feel like doing the $1 million case study, even though, all right, fine, that might be a lot because $1 million Wednesday is my favorite day of the week. But anyway, it helps when you publicly announce something to kind of like hold yourself accountable and to give you that extra motivation you need to actually make sure that it all gets done. So we'd love for you guys to do that and use the hashtag MDCS challenge in the process. And you can earn free stuff from it. So if you aren't too familiar with the $1 Million Case Study, if this happens to be the first one that you're tuning into, during part 1 of the $1 Million Case Study, we launched a product in the US. It was a hooded baby towel. Before that, we launched another product in the US that are bamboo marshmallow sticks. But our last one, I think it went live on June 2nd. So that's about 2 months ago now. It is profitable. For the first month or 6 weeks or so, it wasn't profitable, and that's to be expected because we're willing to lose money in marketing costs in exchange for a good page rank and long-term success of our listing. So to get it started, we had to do this launch process that costed us more money than it was making us, but that's okay. We knew that going in. We were willing to do that in exchange for the long-term success of this particular product. So it is now profitable. It's making us money every single day. Our total revenue to date throughout all of our products, so that's the marshmallow sticks and the hooded baby towels, has been $316,000. So we're about a third of the way to our $1 million. So we're doing pretty good. And just for the record, if you're not familiar with our marshmallow sticks, those were launched, I think, the very beginning of 2016. So yeah, that's what's generated a lot of this revenue. But we're going to $1 million, so we need more products. It's gonna, let's see, it took us a year and a half to sell 300,000. So that's 4.5 years to get to $1 million. That's way too long. We don't have that long to wait. So we're going to be launching more products, and this time we're going to do one in Europe. We've gotten a lot of feedback from our audience that they would like more information and education on how to do well in Europe. So we thought it was a great teaching opportunity to launch a product in Europe so you guys can learn with it. And it's another way for us to get an additional revenue stream and continue to get additional sales. So we're beginning the whole process from the start. Last week, like I said, we started to come up with product ideas. We showed you guys how we're going to do that. Kim came up with a really good list that we're going to be looking at today, and we're going to be doing some more advanced product research throughout this session. So we'll be looking at all the products, looking at all of the data that Kim came up with on this sheet. We're going to assess some of the trends, maybe some of the more advanced stuff like the market depth, the competitive landscape, how good our competitors' listings are, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're also want to make sure that the product is definitely going to be a winner. So we're going to make sure that we think we can source it profitably, that there's no legal issues, just really look into these products much deeper. So I shared this last week, and I've shared this before, but I'm doing it again because it's extremely important. That's our product criteria blueprint. I've launched over 100 products on Amazon. I've helped other people launch products. I'm very involved with Amazon, and throughout all this experience, I can definitely put together a blueprint. I understand what makes products successful on Amazon and what doesn't make products successful on Amazon. Okay, so we're going to be looking for products that are niches that have existing solid demand. And hopefully by now you guys are saying, "Duh, Greg, I know that because I've preached on this so hard," but I'm going to continue saying it to make sure that you understand this. But we want to sell products that people are already going into Amazon searching for and purchasing. Otherwise, it's very risky, and we can't afford to lose any money on this. We also want something that's relatively low competition, so it doesn't take too long for us to start making sales and start to do well. We want something with good margins, no legal issues. And then it'd be nice if our product was small and lightweight. It's not required, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice if it was easy to source and ship. Hopefully we can come up with some improvements to really make our product stand out on Amazon. And ideally, this product has relatively low seasonality. A little bit more advanced things that we can be thinking about is, and we're going to go into these in more depth throughout this session today. This is kind of just a high-level overview. And we're going to be talking about one of the other ways to gauge the market status or the competition is when you search for your keyword. So when we search for hooded baby towels, how many of the listings on the first page were hooded baby towels and how many were other items. So if we're searching for hooded baby towels and Amazon's showing us like a baby pacifier or something else, then this is a good sign for us. It's a good indicator for us that it's not very competitive. And the reason for that is because, we know that Amazon's showing us products that aren't very relevant for our particular search. So that'd be a good sign. They would rather show a customer, a hooded baby towel instead of a baby pacifier when someone's searching for a hooded baby towel, because they know that's what that person is looking for and that's what would convert the best. And then they make Amazon the most money, which we're cool with too. Another good kind of like advanced things you can see, like when we make these search terms again, are all the PPC ad spots being used and all of them relevant products? We're going to dive a little bit deeper into trying on ways we can figure out whether there's potential legal issues with this product. We're going to look more to see, like, are there improvements we can make in the listing and for the product? So, if there's a really poor quality listing that's still selling really well, again, that's a good sign for us that we should be able to get in there and do well. We'll also be looking for, does it seem like we can easily find suitable suppliers? Does it seem like we'll have good profit margins? Will we be able to bundle it? What's the seasonality like? These are all things we're going to be looking at a little bit deeper today. Then at the end of today's session, Kim's going to show us how she's added products into her product tracker, or that we can do this right now. And this is a great way to look at products kind of under a magnifying glass and really get high quality data as far as how well these products are doing, how well they're selling on a daily basis. This lets us know that, hey, it's not just a fluke that we're selling well for this weekend because they were doing some promotion or something this week, whatever. That instead this product sells consistently well day after day. So with that being said, like Kim said earlier, she made a list of over 40 product ideas. She's going to show this list to us. We're going to look at it together. And then we're going to kind of deep dive into a lot of these products. I'm going to talk about, like, whether I think they're good or whether I have concerns with them, what I don't like, what I do like. So hopefully all you guys can get into my head, understand like where I'm coming at with this type of stuff, and then as a result, replicate our success. So that being said, Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you. Looks like we can see your screen now. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and start kind of showing us some of those products you found, that'd be great.
Yep. Thanks, Greg. That sounds good. So this is the homework sheet that we gave out in last week's session. And if you did miss that, we've got a full recap on our blog and you can go and catch up. But this is a document that we shared out as a template, so you can all use it as well. And I've used it for my own product research for the UK market. Like Greg said, I was using the Jungle Scout tools. I probably spent about 3 hours on this, which is fairly quick actually to come up with this amount of ideas. And that process was speeded up by the fact that I used our tools, but you don't have to do that. You can sort of do it manually as well. So as you can see, I've filled it in. I've got over 40 ideas here. And literally all of these ideas that I've put on this sheet are ones that have some demand and, at least a chance of being a good product. Any that I found that I thought wouldn't fit the bill, I did not put them on this list. So that's over 40 product ideas there straight away. And Greg, I've highlighted the ones in yellow that I think are the top 5. So these are the ones that I want to discuss with you today, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we could just take it from the top.
Yeah, sure. And then why don't you also, just so kind of like the listeners can also get into your head, why don't you tell us a little bit, I see out of 40, you were able to narrow it down to 5. What kind of things were you looking at those 5, or what kind of stood out?
Sure, yeah. So I've actually added my own column here to the template with some notes. So as I was going through, I was adding notes like this would be easy to manufacture, this looks like it would have high profit margins and things like that. But actually the main things that I've used to narrow it down to these 5 is the demand. So some of them have, like 1,300, like this one here, sleep white noise machine. So, you know, the demand's not as high for that. So I've kind of picked out ones that do have that existing high demand, and then also tried to counterbalance that with how much competition there is. So how many sellers have less than 25 reviews in the top 10, which is column H, and then the estimated sales per product. And then I went into each product and had a look at that product and other similar products and had a dig around. So I'm trying to balance it between having high demand and low enough competition for us to enter the market. And I've added some extra notes here, which is things like my initial thoughts on whether it would be easy to source and manufacture or whether it would be a profitable product.
Okay, great. Hey, do you mind zooming in just a hair on that? Like, hold down Command hit plus.
Yep.
I think it might be a little. Seeing if
One more.
in the chat box say it's a little. That's much better. That's good.
Okay.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, what were your favorite ones? And yeah, let's chat about them.
Okay, so the first one was strong cardboard boxes. So that would be the keyword. We actually covered this. We found this last week in the session, Greg. So what I liked about this was super high demand. So as you can see, the total sales for the top 10 sellers is actually 11,000, over 11,000. It would be super easy to manufacture, I believe, because it's a cardboard box. It's pretty simple. And yeah, the price for a pack, we can price it over the £15 mark, which is ideal as well. So I've put that one in there. I think it's a bit of an odd one, like it's cardboard boxes, but I think it's one worth looking at.
Okay, cool. Let's go ahead. Let's run through all 5 of your products, and then I'll share my screen. We can kind of look at some things on Amazon together.
Cool. Okay. The next one is a full face snorkel. So you'll see what this looks like in a moment when Greg shares his screen. But it's kind of a snorkel for swimming. You put it over the whole of your face. Some of them have like GoPro mounts on and things like that. It's a pretty hot product at the moment. It's quite popular. Again, solid demand, much less than the cardboard boxes by about half, but still got really good demand and a high price point. My reservations would be I would want to check that there's no legal issues there. Also that it would be profitable. I'm not really sure how much it would cost to manufacture. I already took a look at Google Trends on that one, and there's a little bit of seasonality, but it doesn't look too high. So all in all, great demand, and it's a pretty exciting product. So I've put that one on there. The next one is a baby sling wrap. So this is basically like a large piece of fabric that you use to attach your baby to yourself. I know these are pretty popular with like parents in the UK. I've seen them around. Again, quite a high price point. Looks like all the other sellers are private label sellers from what I can tell. Demand is a bit lower for this one, and the competition is quite high, but I think it's a pretty nice product, and it would be quite profitable because it's essentially just a piece of fabric, so it'd be quite easy to manufacture, and it'd be quite a easy product to market as well. And then the next one, just scroll down. So sleeping bags. So similar demand here to the snorkels. Again, good price point. There's lots of different variations of sleeping bags on Amazon, so it would be worth looking into, you know, sort of which ones we would be able to sell at a higher price point. But again, demand, the competition that's probably the one with the highest competition. I think all of the top sellers had over 25 reviews. So that would be my main reservation on that one. But I still think it's a good idea, and there's still room in the market. And the next one, travel pillows. So these are like the ones that you use on a flight. You put it behind your neck. Again, really high demand, almost 10,000 units per month in the top 10 sellers. Great price point, should be really easy to manufacture. Again, the competition's high on this one, but it would be quite a profitable product because of the nature of it being quite easy to manufacture. So yeah, that's my top 5. Quite a variety, different categories as well. So looking forward to seeing what you think to them, Greg.
Okay, great. Yeah, just as you're reading those off there, I've been typing them into Amazon. And I can start sharing my. Let me let's switch back to my screen real quick, and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here. So, this is one of the products that Kim just told me, strong cardboard box. So I'm just gonna kind of give you guys a little bit of like a brain dump of just kind of like things that I'm thinking when I look at this, and hopefully that kind of gives you an idea, like helps you guys get into my head, so you can, like be choosing products the same type of way that I'd be choosing products. So we kind of talked about this last week. Right away, my eyes are drawn. So I just typed in strong cardboard box for the whole Amazon UK store. Right away, I'm looking at the price. The price is pretty good. Some of these are priced like 25 pounds, 22 pounds. I like those a lot better than the 14, 13, 17. So some of them seem to be a little bit lower price, but it seems like, like this one's 25 pounds, and it's like pretty much the best seller in the pack. So I think it's probably just the number or like the quality of the size of the boxes depends on the price. So that's fine. We could go for some of the bigger, more heavy duty ones. Right away, I'm looking at estimated sales. There's tons of sales here. This top one's now doing like 3,000 a month. The one I just said, it's at 25 pounds, doing 2,500 a month. If we were to add all these up, this is that whatever 7,000-8,000, something like that. It's a pretty high amount of demand. So that's really good. That means we know there's tons of people that are going to Amazon UK, like typing this in and buying these things. So that's great. The number of reviews is pretty good. The competition's not too stiff. So, like I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products now in the top 10 that have less than 25 reviews. That's pretty dang good. Pretty low amount of competition. A lot of these are being fulfilled by merchant. I did think I noticed a lot of these that are fulfilled by merchant are actually Prime, so it's seller fulfilled Prime. So normally if I see like on the, a lot of times if you see fulfilled by merchant, it's actually not Prime eligible, and then that would be like a really good indicator to you that, because no one really, like especially, or a lot of the Amazon shoppers, have a Prime membership. So items that aren't offered Prime, they don't really like because, you can't get the free, 2-day shipping or same-day shipping or whatever. But these actually are Prime. What are my other thoughts on this one? So yeah, all of those things I just said there are looking like pretty good. All those things would make it like a strong contender for our potential product to launch on Amazon UK. My immediate hesitations are, to me, this is like a little bit of I guess an area that like I don't have like any experience in. So for example, like I've gotten like tons and tons of products manufactured in China before, but like a box is a little bit stranger. Like, of course, there's definitely box manufacturers in China, because of course, like all my products like come in like big cartons and come in little boxes and whatever else. But I guess it's just like a little bit strange for me because like I've never like ran into this product at like the Canton Fair. It's not something that's like normally advertised, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know for sure what the manufacturing costs are like. So normally I can kind of like gauge whether or not like this would be a high potential profit or not. A lot of these also, we can't see the net right inside of Amazon because these merchant fulfilled products haven't given Amazon the weight and dimensions. And because of that, we're not able to calculate what the FBA fee would be. So I would have to dig into a little bit deeper to make sure there's still enough money left over for us after Amazon fees. For example, like I would want to dig in and see, for this one selling for like 25 euros, what's the fees like on there? Are they, if they were like $8, that'd be pretty good, because then that still means $17 net, or 17 pounds net, which is, quite a bit of money to purchase our product, get it shipped to Europe, and still make profit off it. So those are kind of like the things that I'm thinking. Do you have any specific questions about the cardboard boxes before we go on to the next one, Kim?
No, I agree. I think that was my main reservation as well. Like, would it be worth shipping boxes from China to sell? But yeah, no more questions on that one.
Okay, and then I guess like another thought that like a lot of people have would be like, can I get this manufactured in the UK? I honestly have no idea. I've never got anything manufactured besides in Asia before. Uh, Previously, I've primarily only sold in the US, and there's like hardly any factories for uh, manufacturing goods in the US. So it's like a poor place to source from, and they're relatively difficult to find. So that's why I've always gotten everything manufactured in Asia. So I don't know if you get this manufactured in the UK or not. I wouldn't really know how to go about that. So I would probably just start my search in on Alibaba, which is primarily Chinese factories. So the next one here, full face snorkel. These are what these look like. This is why I think Kim was laughing. A little bit goofy, but I guess people are enjoying them quite a bit because they're selling like crazy. So we'll look at the Jungle Scout results for this. So good price point. Most of these are around 30 pounds, which that's solid. The estimated sales, again, pretty solid. If we were to add all those up, I don't know, it's probably 4,000 or something. Quite a few sales. Those guys in the top 5 spots are all doing really well. I'd be stoked if I was selling, 30,000 pounds worth of revenue every month of these. Again, not very competitive. The number of reviews is relatively low. Like number 4, he only has 2 reviews, but he's selling, like 450 of these a month, which is quite a few. Same thing, some of these other people don't have many reviews and are still doing pretty well. So that's definitely a good sign. FBA fees aren't too high. There's still quite a bit of net left over for us after Amazon, takes their cut. An immediate reservation about this would be what's the seasonality like? Right now, we're in the middle of summer, so I don't know. The UK is not really that warm even in the summer to be swimming, right?
No, you definitely wouldn't go snorkeling here.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I guess most people are probably buying these for trips anyway. So it's like, I don't know. There's probably more people in the UK going down to Spain or Portugal or whatever else, maybe doing some snorkeling there. But even like snorkeling in the Mediterranean is not that great. So I mean, a lot of these are probably, I don't know, going to the Caribbean or Canaries or whatever else. But that's all speculation. I would prefer just look at the data like I'm going to. So this is Google Trends that we pulled up here inside the extension. It looks like the peak was in July. These things like pretty much didn't even exist, 2 years ago. So we don't have a whole lot of data to go off of, but it looks like 2016, so last year, they peaked in July and August, and then September was quite a bit lower. October started to pick up, and then December was quite high. So that makes sense to me. People are either buying these things right in the summertime when I guess probably the 2 primary times to like go on vacation when you'd be snorkeling would probably be the middle of summer or like December, January when a lot of people take like a winter vacation or a vacation around the holidays. So this is good information to know and to understand because right now is about a peak time. However, so let's see. If we were to go off the data from last year, the number of Google Trends gives me is 72 in the middle of summer. And in September, which was the lowest month last year, it was 19. So that's roughly, let's say, 3.5 times as much demand in the middle of summer as what there is in the fall time, which is the slow time. But then again, around Christmas, it picked up to even more. So this product does have a little bit of season, or this, I'd say it has fairly significant amount of seasonality to it. But the good thing is it's not during just like one short season. Like if we were just selling Christmas trees, those things would only sell good in like November and December, maybe like at the end of October or something, right? Whereas this, it sells well in the middle of the summer, it sells well in the middle of the winter, and then probably spring and fall are a little bit quieter, but it looks like it still makes some sales. So another good thing about looking at this trend is that this thing's like I said, these didn't even exist like 2 years ago. and they're becoming like, it's definitely like an overall upward trend. So hopefully we'd be like on in the beginning of something that's going to be like pretty hot and only getting more popular into the future. So I wouldn't be scared of the seasonality. It's just something to be mindful, especially when forecasting. One thing that does come to mind for me is this, like whenever you see a product that is very unique and something that like you just like a very unique, noticeable design, right away what pops in my head is there a patent on this particular product? Okay, so this seems like a great type of product to get patented. I imagine it would be fairly easy to get a patent on this product for whoever originally created it. However, um, I'm probably wrong because, as you can see here, there's a lot of different people selling these. So this is one seller, two sellers, three sellers, four sellers, five, six, seven, eight, whatever. A whole bunch of different people selling more or less the same product. So that eases a lot of my patent concerns. That's not a great, that's not like a telltale sign that it's definitely not patented, but that definitely like at least eases a lot of my concerns. There is a potential that this product is patent pending, and all these other sellers are just taking advantage of selling this until the patent goes through. But that's something that we could dive into a little bit deeper to see if we could find like whoever the original creator of this was, and is there a patent pending. So yeah, I'm guessing that this isn't going to be patented, even though just like first glance at seeing this, I would have guessed that it's more likely that it is patented. So yeah, only I guess other things, we just want to make sure we want to see how much we can get this for to make sure there's good margins. I imagine these things aren't that expensive to make. It's a lot of plastic. Once you create a mold, plastic items like this are pretty inexpensive to make in China. Yeah, as far as I guess one of the other reservations I have, there are, like I said, like the whole first page, it's all more or less like the same thing, right? It's like if I was a shopper, how would I determine which one of these I wanted to purchase? Me personally, I almost always go off reviews, so I would go with one of these that get rated the best. This guy's in the number 2 spot, so I imagine a lot of people like that. They're bundling it with a free gift. Looks like a bag to put your cell phone in. So yeah, those are all my thoughts. Go ahead, Kim.
There's some that have GoPro mounts as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. Like this little thing right here, and that one has a GoPro on top of it to show it. So that's something that we definitely like want to take into account when we're trying to. So if we were to narrow down like this product into like one of our like top 2 picks or top 3 picks or whatever, one of the next steps would be figuring out which one of these sell the best, and then we would try to understand what makes them such a good seller. So this third one right here, it's selling, so the top one and then the third one are selling the best. So we'd have to like dive in a little bit deeper. Like, why do we think these are selling the best? This one gets great reviews, so that's a good thing. This one might be selling really well because it's more competitively priced than that one. They also include like some, looks like these are probably defog wipes and a little bag and a little cell phone case. So they've kind of bundled it to provide extra value. So yeah, those are all things we have to kind of be looking at.
Greg, my first thought with this one was without prior experience, I wouldn't straight away know, like, would this be affordable to get manufactured and source? So do you have any tips on how to like get a really rough ballpark idea of how much it might cost to manufacture, just so that I know that it's still a decent idea to continue researching?
Yeah, sure. And good question. So I would a good way to get a rough idea is just to go to Alibaba, to type this in, whatever you're looking for, and then you can look at the prices here. Now, take this very much with a grain of salt because these are very rough estimates. It varies a lot depending on how many pieces you buy and kind of like how badly these factories want your business and the quality of the materials and the type of packaging. So these are all things that a factory is going to take into account when there are, these are all things that are going to go into account, like when you're figuring out the pricing. But just gauging at this, like I'm guessing it's going to roughly be in the ballpark of like 10 or 12 bucks. So if we go back and look, let's look at the extension one more time. So what the net means, like this is selling for 30 pounds. The FBA fees are $6.22. So after Amazon takes their cut, that leaves us with 23 pounds and 77 cents, which is, let's see, would that be about $30 US, Kim? Is that right? Something like that?
I think, well, the pound's not as strong anymore, so I'm not sure.
we'll call it 30 US dollars just for an even number. So even, if I get this thing for 10 bucks, that'd be pretty good. That'd be 200% ROI on my investment. Even if it were to cost me $15 and I made $15 profit on each one I sold, again, that's still really good, right? That's 100% ROI for each sale, 15 bucks profit. Those are numbers that I like. And, if we were to sell like this guy, if we were to sell 1,000 a month at $15 profit each, that's really good, right? 15,000 bucks. So those are, does that answer your question, Kim, about kind of how you can get a ballpark number?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just sometimes when I'm looking at these products, I think that'd be cheap to manufacture, but I'm not sure. So that's a really quick way to sort of gauge whether it's worth spending more time researching a product or moving on to the next one. So that's really useful.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So next one we're looking at here, baby sling wrap. And this is what these things look like. Mothers and fathers or whoever else use them to carry around their kids. Just like Kim said, I think these are pretty popular right now. I think I see a lot of parents wearing them. So let's take a look at them. Like I said, right away, I usually look at like the price, the sales, and the number of reviews. So good price point, especially like, to be honest, it seems kind of a high to me. Like it's more or less just a big piece of fabric that you wrap up in a certain way. So I imagine these are pretty inexpensive to make, yet they're still selling for around 20 pounds-ish. So yeah, solid price point for us. The estimated sales are pretty good, not quite as strong as the full face snorkel mask, but still good. Top seller is selling about 1,000 a month. If we were to add all these up, I think we'd have 3,000 units of demand or so. So a good solid amount of demand. This one is a little bit more competitive, but still not too bad. Like the number 2 person here, they're selling 700 a month with only 33 reviews. In spots number 7 and 8, only 15 reviews. These are probably like pretty young listings. Amazon fees are pretty low. This would be a product that is simple. It's like pretty hard for a factory to mess this up. If you think about it, like it'd be much easier for a factory to mess up the manufacturing of a like one of these full face snorkel masks, because like I'm not a industrial engineer or a manufacturing expert or anything, but this is like a number of different parts, right? Like there's a strap that goes on there. It looks like maybe some one-way valves right there. The snorkel, it's probably like silicone and plastic. I imagine like if you got a poor quality one, it'd probably leak, like at the joints and or the face seal or whatever else. So there's a lot more that could go wrong with a snorkel mask, even though it's still relatively simple by most standards. The baby sling wrap, like I look at this thing like pretty hard to mess up, as long as, I don't know, it's good quality fabric and they sew it right. I can't think of too many things that would go wrong with this particular product, which is good. That's what we want. So yeah, good price point, good amount of demand. I'd say like moderate competition, a little more than, if I'd never launched a product before, there's a little bit more competition than I would like, but since we have a little bit of experience, I wouldn't be too scared of this. What questions do you have for me, Kim?
With this one, I was kind of a little bit, I was wondering about the price point because like you say, it is just a piece of fabric, but I think the reason that people charge this much is because of the sort of the brand of the product. Like it's a cool thing that parents have and that they use. So like I quite like it as a product, but I think my main worry with this one was that the demand was not quite as high as some of the others, but the competition was still quite high. So
Yeah, those are
although
solid concerns.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
something
think
like, go ahead.
I think it's a really nice product, and I have to sort of stop myself from being like, "Oh, I really like this one. I want to sell this one."
Right.
But the numbers speak for themselves, so I was kind of in two minds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something kind of funny. We'll just discuss pricing real quickly. Like you said, some products people are willing to spend more money on and don't necessarily have to correlate like the price to the amount of value you get. I think like a good example of this would be a lot of this stuff is like a little bit more like name brand, but like Nike sneakers, I pay like $100 for them and don't even like really think twice about it. But I'm sure like there's other like running shoes I could get for like $20 that are probably like the same quality, right? And same thing, there's just like other things that like the perceived value is higher or the perception on, yeah, kind of like what it's worth to people is higher. And those are the like that's a good product to sell because those usually have like really high margins. So it's something to think about. So yeah, I guess like something like these, like if you're a new mother, you figure like, oh man, like I'm trusting my baby's life inside this thing. I don't want them to like fall out, and I also want to be like cool and hip or like or attractive looking when I'm wearing this. So like what's the difference between 17 pounds and 23 pounds? If that's the difference between like thinking that your baby's safe and that you look good wearing it and that it's comfortable, right? It's like, yeah, okay. So yeah, so on to the next product. The other one you said was sleeping bag. It looks like there's lots of different kinds here. I see person bags, 2-person bags, mummy sleeping bags. So we're gonna run the JS extension real quick. While that loads, Kim, what were your thoughts of this and what kind of questions did you have about it?
My main question with this, I mean, obviously, we all know what a sleeping bag is, and they're very useful for camping and other situations. But my main worry with this one was when I looked at the extension, I could see that there were some sellers on there that, being British, I know are like brick and mortar labels, like bigger brands. So I was just wondering what your thoughts were on competing against those sort of brands.
Yeah, really good question. And I bet a bunch of people watching this have that same question, so I'm glad you asked it. So I'm not concerned about competing with big brands as long as the data backs up that my consumers don't care much. So if what is the big brand, Kim? I actually don't know looking at this one. Is it King Camp or?
There's one that's Mountain Warehouse, and they have a chain of brick and mortar stores. It's not like a super big brand, but it's a fairly well known brand within the camping niche. So
Right. Okay. So yeah, like if there was one brand here that pretty much like owned all of the sales or like had the vast majority of the sales, I would be concerned about that because that means that people do have a strong brand allegiance and people like want that particular brand, whether it's for like status reasons or perceived quality or whatever else. But with this particular product, I don't think that's the case because like I look at this, the sales are pretty well spread out, even across like a lot, right? I mean, even all the way down here. Um, yeah, these are like very. So this is like something I would say like this product has like a very good depth of market. So if there's only like like if King Camp or this one Milestone Camping, it looks like it shows up a few times. If those people were the only ones with the sales and other brands that we never heard of before or seemed like just private label sellers weren't getting any sales, then that's something that would concern me. And that's a product that I would shy away from. But I'm not seeing any indicators of that just by looking at like the depth of market and the spread in the sales here. Does that make sense?
yeah, definitely.
Great. So yeah, I mean, I think again, this is at a good price point. Some of these are fairly expensive. Like even this one, 36 pounds. It looks like this one, yeah, just by looking at it, I don't even know for sure why that's more expensive. I have to dig in deeper. Um, so yeah, I think there's a few cheap ones, but we have to kind of figure out how we're going to make sure that our sleeping bag is one of the higher priced ones. It's a good price point, lots and lots of demand that's spread out really well throughout the market. The number of reviews, it's not too competitive, right? There's not many, the rule of thumb that we gave was we're looking for listings with under 25, and it doesn't look like any of these top ones meet that specific criteria. But then again, that is like a rule of thumb. There are a few products here that don't have many reviews, like 60, 50, 70, 50. It's not like all these products have hundreds and hundreds or thousands of reviews. So on like a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say the competition here is maybe like a 6. So like moderate, but not like too bad. I think we could still compete. Yeah, FBA fees are reasonable. It's still a good amount of net after Amazon fees. So yeah, overall, again, I think this is like a pretty solid product. If this was the first product I was ever launching, I'd probably look for something a little less competitive, just because it'd be easier to learn on. But for a particular case study, I'd be willing to launch a product like this. So yeah, good find. I like it.
Awesome.
This last one, travel pillow. So this is like what you use when you fly or whatever, long car trips. It looks like there's lots of different styles of this. So let me go ahead and pull up Jungle Scout. The price point varies quite a bit, and it's not as high as some of the other products we're looking at. Like this person selling theirs for £6, £7, 7, 7, 10. So those, scare me a little bit because I'm competing with people who are selling a product for very cheap. Let's see, some of these other ones that are the higher price that we do like, we kind of have to look for, why are they able to charge more money for it? So again, when I see a product like this looks like a very unique design to me, as opposed to, let me see one of these other ones. That's kind of unique. This one right here, like I'm sure this isn't trademark. I see these things everywhere and all kinds of people make them. But a more unique one like this, I would want to double check that this one wasn't trademarked before we were to sell something like that. So the price point, a little bit lower than I would like. It is, we just want to make sure we're one of these higher price items. A great amount of demand though. If I were to add that up, that'd be what, like 5,000, 6,000 units. So tons of demand. Let's see. Top 4 spots have a lot of reviews. After that, again, none with under 25, like we said for our rule of thumb, but 35, 42, 38, 25. Those are all fairly non-competitive, and a lot of those guys are even selling pretty well. Yeah, those are my overall thoughts on this one. This would be a good potential product to maybe bundle with something else. So, this guy's like bundling his with earplugs. Those probably go together well, or maybe like a sleep mask or something like that. And potentially, if we were to do that, we can maybe get the price up, like to the 20-pound mark or something that I'd prefer to see, just because we could make money on it quicker. What are your thoughts on this one? What questions do you have?
Yeah, so the same with the price point. There was quite a varied price point for those. So that was a little bit of a worry. I actually started to dig into this a little bit myself, and I was looking at, can you bundle it like you've just said? And maybe that will bring the price up a little bit. I started looking into some of the reviews as well to see what negative reviews they had. And I couldn't, from what I could tell, it kind of looked like I was looking for ways that maybe we could improve this product and make it better, to make ours stand out. But I couldn't really find anything really key where we could do that. So in that case, I guess then the next thing would be maybe to look at how strong the competitors' listings are, and see whether we could enter with a much better listing and approach it that way instead.
Yeah, good thought. like this first one I just clicked on, this listing's not good, right? It only has one picture, pretty mediocre picture too.
Yeah.
They don't even use what is probably the main search term in the title, right? They don't even use travel pillow. They just have Trek Mates Deluxe Pillow. So this listing's terrible, but I mean, they're only selling it for £6, so a lot of people are probably still buying this just because of the really low price. Like this listing's probably better. Seem like this listing's better, but yeah, we could, just like you said, we could go through and look at these and see which listings are bad and which ones are good. And I think most of you guys can probably distinguish a good listing from like a poor one or one that's easier to compete with. But the reason I say this is good, it has, let's see, 7 images, which is good. That's as many as you can show. It shows nice detail of the product. The text doesn't look too nice here, but they do call out specifically what like the unique selling proposition of this particular product is. So, they show that they have like a nicer valve and, well, that's cool. It has a pump built in. So they call that out. Because, yeah, I wouldn't have known that before. It talks about the ergonomic design. So that makes the listing good. You want to see a long title with lots of keywords in the title. That makes a listing a high quality listing. They use lots of keywords and fill in, all the text in the bullets here. So this is overall, like a high quality listing that is more difficult to compete with. So ideally, we want to see a bunch of terrible listings like this because these guys are a lot easier to compete with than like that other one that has, a much higher quality listing. So, I got one question in the chat box. Could Greg go into further detail about Google Trends, like what spikes are ones to look out for and which ones, et cetera, et cetera? Sure. So I'm going to go over that real quick, and then after that, we're going to look at the product tracker, and we're going to look at the data it gives us and why that's valuable. So Google Trends is built in to Jungle Scout Pro. So right now, it's going to take the search term sleeping bag, because that's what we search for on this page. So when I click it, this gives me the search volume over time. So this is the past, like, whatever, long time, 15 years or whatever it is. And a lot of people are confused by the number that Google gives us here, and it is kind of confusing. So the number right next to the word sleeping bag right there, just think, the best way to think about this is the max amount of search volume for this particular keyword is 100. So you can think of it as a percentage of max. So I can say in February 2016, it had like 57% of the maximum amount of interest in that particular product. So I don't know why there was a big spike in November of 2015. I guess that was a good year for camping, but you can kind of like get good overall understandings of trends here. So let's see, right now, we're in August. Let's go back one. In July, it had like 77% of maximum, which we can think of that as, like right now. It looks like August is 76, is about the same thing. So if we look in February, when it's lower, that'd be like 56 out of 77, which is, I don't know, roughly like 2/3. So in February, we can plan to sell about 2/3 of what we're selling right now in the middle of summer. And then, same thing, I can kind of like follow this back over time and just look like when the peaks were and when the kind of valleys are. So this particular product is actually not very seasonal, which is nice. Because like I look at a peak of like 63 in August. That same year, the low month of February was 49. So it's not that much difference, right? It's gonna be a little bit slower in February, but not too bad. The next year is like 66 and 50. So that's like, I don't know, 20 or 25% less in February is what there is in the middle of summer. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question from you guys. Kim, any more questions from you before we check out the product tracker?
No, I'm ready to go. I've got the tracker up.
Okay, sweet. Let me give over the screen to you. All right, take it
Okay.
away.
Cool. So this is the product tracker in the web app. And what I've actually done is I've created some tabs for some of my products that I'm interested in that we've just covered. And I've started to add some of the products from Amazon on there. So it will automatically track the sales data for me. So I'll just show you how I did that. So, well, there's two ways. So this is an example. You can either take the URL for the product and then just add that straight into here. You can see it says USA right now. It will automatically change it to the right one. So if you add a UK product, it'll add it, and then you just hit add to tracker. And if you're in whichever tab you're in, it'll add it to that tab for you. Alternatively, if you have the extension as well and you're looking at a bunch of data, sorry, I think my internet is, let me try refreshing that. Okay, I think Chrome is having a nightmare.
No worries here, I'll show them. So if you just hit this little plus sign, guys, then over on the left-hand side, then it'll say product added to web app tracker. So if you have the extension, that's just a quick way to add it to your web app. So, yep, back over to you, Kim.
Cool. And then, so if I'm looking at these full face snorkels now, if I just press that, it'll open up the data and you can look at the past 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, or 60 days. And this is really useful because you can see all sorts of things like how much they had in inventory, the estimated units sold per each day. You can also see how their rank has fluctuated, which is quite interesting to see as well. And it shows you the price as well. So this is just a really sort of quick way to monitor the sales of these products over a longer stretch of time. And so this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be looking at the sales of these products over the next, I've already been looking last week, but I'm going to be looking over the next week as well. Just like Greg said, to make sure that any spikes in sales aren't a fluke, and make sure that they've got good amount of sales and demand on an ongoing basis.
Cool. Let's can we try to look at another one real quick, and I'll kind of walk people through what we're looking at. You want to choose a different one?
Do you want a snorkel? Or
so guys, if you do get that right there, like this is tracked in real time. So some of the products do have some historical information, but other ones like our app isn't currently tracking that. So like we track a lot of stuff in-house. So that's why it says check back in 48 hours. But we can just look at the top one, Kim. That will work if you want to scroll up real quick.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at there is the light blue line is the amount of inventory. Okay. The green line is the best sellers rank. And the orange or the black line is how many units were sold on that particular day. So this is useful for you guys because you can look back over time and say, now that she has this in her tracker, it will track and update every single day. And she can look, before she invests like $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever into this product, she can look at this and say like, okay, like I feel confident in the numbers because it's been consistently selling 10 units a day or 20 units a day. It wasn't just, a big spike during, a short period of time that like kind of threw the numbers off or whatever. So this is like a good like insurance policy and a good way to just kind of like look at products underneath a magnifying glass and whether they'd be good or not. Cool. Go ahead.
I was going to say you could also, if you had the extension, you could take a look at data and sort of track it yourself in a spreadsheet. But obviously that takes up more of your time. So I'm using this just to track it in a really quick and simple way.
Yeah, cool. Right on. Excellent. So let's talk about tasks for next week real quick. I'm going to share my screen so everyone can get the link for their homework. So Kim's put together a okay, wait, actually you haven't even showed us your template yet, have you, Kim? No.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, let's take a look at yours real quick and then we'll give people the link of where they can download it on their own.
Cool. So it's very similar to last week's sheet. I've just put my top 5 products in there, and I've copy and pasted in all the information that I already had in the sheet. And then if you scroll across here, you can see. So these are all the things that me and Greg have been discussing today. Um, and so you can start to fill this in so that you get a more wholesome view of how each of those products performs. So you're looking at things like keyword relevancy, like Greg said, put it into Amazon and see if relevant products come up. Take a look at if the PPC ad spots are being used. If you find anything out about legal issues, you can write that in there too. Things like seasonality. So once you've looked at Google Trends, you can add that in there. I've not filled mine in yet because obviously me and Greg have just been through it. So it's my homework too for the next week. And once this has all been filled in, and once that I've tracked the data over a longer period of time, then I'll be ready to sort of really start to think about making that decision about which one I'm going to move forward with and invest in.
And Kim, I guess some people already got the link because I see a whole bunch of at the top of your screen people opening it up.
Also, just a quick note to people. I do get requests from people. How can I access it? This is a read-only template, so you just need to hit file and you can create your own copy or download it as an Excel sheet so you can use it and amend it in any way you like.
Yeah, show them how to do that real quick, Kim, because I think this is always a point of confusion for people.
Cool. So file and make a copy there. So that would, if you have a Google account, it will save it to your Google Drive. But if you don't want to do that, you can just go download as, and you can download it as an Excel sheet. Really simple.
Sweet. Thanks. So some people already got the link. If you want it, then it's junglescout.com/ it's at the bottom of the screen here. Session 2-HW for homework. So we'd encourage you guys, like we said, we encourage all you guys to be following along with us throughout the $1 Million Case Study here. It's a great way to hold yourself accountable and to actually launch these products so you can start building this business for yourself so you can start achieving those things that we've been talking about last week, like location freedom, financial freedom, whether you want to quit your job or just a side hustle, or maybe you already have an e-commerce business, you want to scale it up. Those are all great reasons. But this would be the time to do so because you can do so in the same time period as us, and we'll always be giving you kind of like the next steps that you need to know. So yeah, next week we are going to be, we'll do another one on Wednesday, the same place and same time. And we're going to be going over how to be contacting factories. We're going to let you guys know how to get good price quotes. I'm going to go ahead and just actually share so you guys can be working on or figuring out how to get these price quotes from these factories, and that will help us make our final decision. So we haven't officially chosen a product yet, because remember, a few things like on that spreadsheet and a few things that we want to know are there good margins? We don't know. We can make a good estimate right now, but we want to know for sure by actually getting a real quote from these factories. We also want to know, we also want to be able to make sure that there are factories that can produce this thing. What else, Kim? What am I forgetting?
So we also want to take a deeper look at each one of them to find out whether there's any legal issues. So for some of them, that might be quite easy to figure out, and others it might require a little bit more of a deeper analysis. Take an even deeper look at how strong the competitor listings are. And then also, factors like whether we could improve the product itself and make a better version of it, or whether we could improve the product listings that are already out there for those products. So yeah, that's a bit more investigation. I think probably the most time consuming part of that would be starting to contact some suppliers and figuring out whether it's profitable, which is obviously super important.
Yeah, but next week we'll let you guys know. We'll explain more how to find good factories. We'll give you a template that you can use to send them in the emails for the initial outreach. We'll let you know about common pitfalls people have, or like potential scams that you want to stay away from. There's not too much of that, but it's always good to kind of like be warned about that type of stuff. So we'll give you all that stuff you guys need to know next week. I was hoping to get up to a few questions, but we are kind of over time here. So maybe instead I'll try to just like read over those for the broader questions, and I can answer them like kind of at the beginning of next week's session. So that being said, guys, if you haven't already registered for the $1 Million Case Study, I really think you should do so to make sure you get notified of when all these are live, as well as the recaps that we put together each week. So you can do so at junglescout.com/million. If you want your homework assignment, that's junglescout.com/session2-HW. Is that right, Kim?
Yes.
Excellent. So that's where you can find that. And we would really, 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 really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to us on YouTube if that's where you're watching, or give us the thumbs up on Facebook or Periscope if you're tuning in there. And with that being said, Kim, you have your homework cut out for you this week, and I will see you next $1 Million Wednesday.
Yep. See you then.
All right. Take care. Bye.